All right, and welcome back for round 3 of Cultus. Today our topic is religious pluralism. So, kind of a continuation from last week's theme of civic religion. I think we want to call back to that a little bit, but we'll also try and steer out of the skids. Let's not make this political chat.
Sure. Well, we can.
Yeah.
But
just offend as many potential viewers as possible.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to try and say as many inflammatory things as I can, hopefully.
Excellent.
It's all for the views, I think, is what, and then that sweet ad money.
That's what people come here for. Outraged opinions.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So because last week we had discussed civic religion and kind of our feelings about that, but I remember religious pluralism was something that you had wanted to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to go ahead and just kind of outline the questions you had for me about religious pluralism.
Yeah, sure. So right off the bat, I guess let's just start off with what is religious pluralism, or what do we have in mind by religious pluralism?
So I usually think of religious pluralism as being a society in which different religions and different belief systems can get along or coexist without or with minimal amounts of friction.
Mm-hmm.
So the United States is generally pluralistic because it allows different religious practices to kind of coexist relatively peaceably among each other.
Mm-hmm.
Usually that's when I think about religious pluralism, I think about a social structure that allows for more than one religious practice, oftentimes conflicting religious practice.
Yeah, I tend to agree. So I put pluralism at like a population or society-wide level.
Yeah, good way, yeah.
And so it's a big statistical characterization. I think I might add in that I would divide diverse from pluralistic, in that diverse describes a population's numbers, right? A nation is diverse if, in matter of fact, it has many traditions. And pluralistic is more normative, that it's disposed such that it can maintain this. For instance, like the Russian Empire was diverse because there were, in fact, a great variety of religions, but was not terribly pluralistic. It was very clearly devoted to one version of religious practice. And they kind of overlap in my mind, but that's the only addition I would make.
No, that's fine. Yeah. I agree.
Okay, so now that we have kind of this idea of both the diversity of populations and the disposition of populations with respect to religious outgroups, let's start off, I suppose, with the political level. We were talking last time about very thin political structures with weak civic religions, or no, theological religious tradition. So, what do you see as the prospects for the very strongly secular, very pluralistic states going forward? So that's the new normal. Do you think it's viable?
Do you think there is an example right now of that, or do you think that it's a kind of a goal in the end?
I would say that most Western states are religiously pluralistic in that they do promote cohabitation even if they don't achieve it.
Yeah.
And most are secular, at least in the sense of not officially maintaining a faith. Like the United States is not, it's not going to compel anybody to sign up.
Right.
And so ostensibly these states claim that they can function without religious consensus.
Yeah.
It doesn't require broadly shared faith backgrounds. And so I'm tempted to think that this model does work long run. That even though historically there's been very few states like this, the modern democratic consensus, I think, will work. I hope will work. But that's, I guess, what I want to put to you. What do you think of this?
I think it depends on the state, and it depends on the religions. I think that it's possible for it to work, but there are lots of instances where it doesn't work. And one of the instances is whether or not the populace, no matter how pluralistic their religious sentiments, can actually come together and agree on a kind of common goal.
Mm-hmm.
So, you could have a state that embraces a pluralistic ethos, But if part of the pluralistic ethos is including religions or beliefs that don't really like pluralistic ethoses, then you're going to immediately run into a problem.
And so I think you're right to point us that there's really a constellation of smaller questions. To use the language we were using last time, if we all sign on to the same civic religion where we agree that you can be a loyal opposition and that we're not going to retaliate against political opponents and stuff like that, the state suddenly has this new source of stability and can take on a whole lot of stress elsewhere that it couldn't. And then another constellation of questions around if the members of the society have very divergent religious beliefs, that might not actually be a problem if they converge on the right topics.
Right.
But even if they're similar, if they differ in some very important instances, it can tear itself apart.
Yeah. I mean, in many ways, the religious pluralism, as you said, is just one part of a larger question of kind of social cohesion.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, pluralistic societies are possible, but when you have them, you have a new element of a possibility of lack of cohesion.
Right.
But what's the alternative? Right? We've seen the alternative, and the alternative is
not
awful. So,
right. Yeah, neither political or religious Puritanism.
Yeah, it doesn't
is not a good plan.